Hello, everyone. I'm Brittany. I am the Education Officer of SPSS, and I'm here to do an interview with Natalie for Dementia Action Week to raise awareness about dementia. So Natalie Ive, she works extensively with Dementia Australia as a dementia advocate. She is also a member of Australian Aphasia Association and Dementia Alliance International. So Natalie, thank you for being here today to do an interview with me. Could you just tell me a little bit about yourself?
Oh, thanks, Brittany. I'm glad to be here. So I'm Natalie, and I reside in the western suburbs of Melbourne. I'm a former educator. However, now I work extensively, as you said before, with Dementia Australia as an advocate, and that gives me much purpose. So, yeah, I've got two beautiful daughters, two beautiful cats. I love to paint. I love to cook. I'm involved with my local gym within the community. Yeah, so that's just a little bit about me.
Amazing. So for those who don't know, just to give a bit of background, I also regularly volunteer in Australia Aphasia Association, and one of the speech pathologists passed me Natalie's contact to do this interview, and Natalie immediately replied to me and wanted to take this opportunity to advocate. So Natalie, I just wanted to ask, what drew you to this opportunity to advocate for people with dementia?
Yeah, when I seen the opportunity, I thought, wow, I'm going to jump on this because this is something that we should highlight. Dementia and aphasia, so many people have speaking difficulties, and I thought to myself, how can we incorporate that with Dementia Australia and the Aphasia Association in Australia? How can we do that? Mm-hmm. I see many members with, as stroke victims, with the aphasia, and that's quite fine. But there's not many of us with, dementia in there. And I'm thinking, why is that? We should be, all there somehow, linked. And there should be more awareness because of that. So,
Great. Yeah, I agree. Just from my experience of volunteering with AAA, most of the members there are post-stroke people with aphasia, and before looking more into the different types of aphasia, I thought aphasia was mostly found, or was only found in people with like a brain injury or with a stroke. So yes, it is important to raise awareness that aphasia is also found in people with dementia.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So on that note, Natalie, can you tell us about your journey with primary progressive aphasia?
Okay, so my journey goes back quite a while, maybe 2015, where as an educator, my speech was my tool, that's the main thing with my students. And I just noticed that I couldn't find any words filling out forms or, doing different assessments for my students. And I thought, what's going on here? Am I stressed? Am I this? Am I that? And all of those checked out no. And as things just started to progress, it just slowly became impossible, not impossible, but I was just struggling with my speech. Mm-hmm. And then when I was sort of going through my dementia diagnosis, the speech was really impacted, but no one was knowing what was happening because I was so young. And so to find out, that was a hard journey in itself. Mm-hmm. But, going forward I met with the peer group that I was in, Now, I hope I get it right again, ADI. They have a peer group within there. And there's many people with dementia who struggle with their speech. And they had said, hey, Nat, how about you see a speech pathologist? And I didn't think about that before because, you know, they said, I've been to one and this is what you should do. Go to your GP and you know, have it assessed, have them, you know, have a talk to them. And so that's how that came about. Mm-hmm. And so I did go to my local GP who had known what was going on with me with the dementia journey. And she was straight onto it, right, you know, going to a speech pathologist, this and that. So I had seen one, Kerry Thomas, within IPC Wyndham here in Melbourne. Oh. Would you believe this? Kerry said to me straight away, Nat, the first time that I heard you on the phone, we had our first conversation, I heard it. You know what I mean? You don't have to, you know what I mean, try and convince me. You know, it was that clear. It was that you know, how nobody had seen that or made the connection, you know. Anyway, so that's how that became. So I had seen her a few times and we were doing the assessment. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it was very clear that there were deficits, I guess, you know what I mean? But then at the same time, there were good points as well that I have certain things with me. So, yeah.
That's interesting that you had to experience convincing people that you had speech difficulties at the beginning.
Yeah.
Is it because that it's uncommon to have a young onset or an earlier onset of PPA?
Yeah. The thing is with young onset, yeah, it's that sort of like assumption again, you know what I mean, that you're only meant to be older, you know what I mean, to have these sort of like, you know, presenting with these problems. Well, no, it's not. There are people who are younger, just like I am, and even younger too, although rare, but it's not something, you know what I mean, there are people out there like myself, you know, and that we can fall through the system, you know, through the cracks. Mm-hmm. We can because we're young and it's like scratching their heads, you know, but how can that be, you know? We don't want it to be, but, you know, it's that convincing, again, that we have to fight to be believed, you know, fight. This is our reality. You know, we go to doctors and we want them to be caring, you know what I mean, or understanding. And then when you sort of like get kind of kicked aside, you know, you start thinking, you know, where am I supposed to go? Who's going to help me?
Yeah.
What do I do? I'm alone. I don't want to feel alone. I don't need to feel alone. You know, why am I not believed? So, yeah.
Do you have any tips for people on how they can interact with people with dementia in a more, I guess, dementia-friendly way?
Yeah, so you know what I mean? It's important to remember that no two people with dementia are alike. Everybody is unique, and that's important to remember. And I might present this way, you know, and another person might present, but we all sort of like understand each other, you know what I mean? So, and what you want to do is to normalize it. If you can normalize it as much as possible, you know, we're on the road to making a better life for the person with dementia. I mean, I see it that way. Highlight, showcase what they're able to do. That's really important with the PPA, with the dementia, you know, both, they're connected. You know, highlight that, you know, include. It's inclusivity. It's important. You know, have that there, but also equally the challenges, you know, include them because they're very important. So it's no different, isn't it, from anybody else, any one of us, you know, there's good and bad. So it's normalizing. Why should it be any, you know what I mean, different? But it needs to be, yeah.
Right. So it sounds like maybe just knowing a bit more about the good sides and the bad sides of the personal experience of what it's like to have dementia and just seeing it as a part of, well, reality, I suppose. It's normal kind of thing.
Because the way that I see it, like you've got textbooks and, you know, doctors and, you know, that's fine. That's completely fine. but we, the people, or any person living with something, has the lived experience. So really, we're the professors, aren't we, of what it's
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Go to the person, ask the person who's living with this, what is it like?
Mm.
You know, and you'll find the answers, you know what I mean? And through that, that's where you raise that awareness, those misconceptions, those, you know, and break down those walls of stigma, you know, hopefully, you know, that's what we're here for, you know, to try and do that, like this interview today. You know, it's really important for students, you know, or anyone watching to see this. So
Yeah. I think actually that's a great way to end the interview.
yeah.
Thank you, Nat, for being a part of this interview, and thank you for being so passionate about being a dementia advocate, and just giving us so much insights about what it's like to have a lived experience of dementia, and specifically primary progressive aphasia, which is something that's very relevant to what we're studying. We're studying speech pathology. As speechy students, we'll need to know this stuff in the future. So it's great to see someone not read a textbook, but to see and talk to someone who does have a lived experience of PPA. So again, thank you so much, Nat. Yeah.
Thanks. So happy to be involved.